quite a few discussions about what that means, because I guess people often focus on the application of maths and convincing young people that they should study their maths because it's going to get them a job. And of course, maths does have a lot of important applications in this world of ours. But what we've also been discussing in the last few weeks is the beauty of maths, the power of maths, something perhaps more natural in what people see in maths. And some of the people who run the Maths Association, and not I unfortunately, came back with something from Chile, where he reported that there's a Chilean saying that mathematics is the poetry of science. And somebody else reported that one of the great lecturers in mathematics at a the relationship between nature and maths and our minds, and the way that we perhaps great mathematicians. And to numerology as that he's been exploring in recent times. But today it's The Maths is Right, How to Win at Game Shows. Please welcome Dr. Marty Ross.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, obviously you can hear me, I can hear me. Please forgive me if this is a little strange. This is the first time I've given a computer talk, and the first time I've talked with the Madonna get-up. I'm used to blackboards and yelling at people from a long distance. So the maths of game shows. Do we have mathematicians in the audience? I can see a couple, one raising his hand slowly there. Have we had people, has anybody here been on a game show? How'd you do?
Not bad.
Not bad? All right, we'll compare how we did later. I'll talk about my own exploits later. Here, does anybody know who this guy is? He's probably forgotten now.
Tommy Hanlon Jr.
Tommy Hanlon Jr., that's exactly who he is. Tommy Hanlon Jr., I couldn't get the slide I wanted of this, but he was one of the great entertainers in early Australian TV, and I remember him for the game shows. I think that he was actually more famous for other things in TV, but he had a program called Let's Make a Deal. And I always remember that, where there was curtain number 1 and curtain number 2 and curtain number 3, and behind one of the curtains was a great prize, and behind another curtain was a can of baked beans or something like that, and you had to guess which curtain. So Tommy Hanlon Jr. is kind of the spirit behind this talk. Now, there's Jeopardy is a program which used to be on TV in Australia. Most of the Australian game shows have been copied, stolen from America, the home of game shows. Here's a guy who's the first guy to get $1 million on Jeopardy. This is just this week, and as of Friday, he's still going. He's won 37 times in a row. And he says a bit of a short attention span is what helped pave the way to all-time Jeopardy records. The kind of things I'm going to tell you are not going to help you much on programs like Jeopardy. It's perhaps a bit surprising where the maths actually helps. Now, how to win in game shows? Well, there's various ways to win. One way is just know a lot, and that's the Jeopardy man. So here's a...
Go ahead, give me a number. Give me a number.
Clip from Quiz Show.
Sir, give me a number, a random number.
I don't know, 23?
Beethoven was 23 when he composed his first piano sonata. In 1923, Jack Bentley set the record for average by a pitcher batting .427. There are 23 chromosomes in the human egg. Also, the human sperm. 23rd President Benjamin Harrison. Asian countries along the 23rd parallel.
Look, don't start believing your own bullshit, all right? You know the name of Paul Revere's horse if he took a crap on your lawn.
Shit. What? It was a mare.
So if you know a lot, you won't be good dinner company, but you will do well on game shows. Okay? The other way is to cheat. There was the famous example, I couldn't get a clip of it, of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where the guy in the audience was coughing if his cohort in the chair got the wrong answers. You know, I think I'll pick B. Oh, no, I'll pick C. All right, and I've got a clip here, but I think we'll skip that one.
By the last category.
Another reason. Obviously, luck helps. There is such a thing as luck. Mathematicians often like to say there is no luck, but there is. If you're unlucky, you'll come up against God in a game show. Yes, that's right, the answer is Wisconsin, another 50 points for God, and our champion hasn't scored yet. I mean, if you come across God or Barry Jones or someone like that in a game show, then you're in trouble, all right? Or you can just be lucky and guess the answers. I'll come back to that. But the way I'm advertising, of course, is mathematics. Right? Now, one way that mathematics comes up is just as the following.
The German astronomer Kepler discovered that planetary orbits are of what shape?
Tension, 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 tension.
Oblong?
That answer is incorrect. Actually, technically, the correct answer is ellipse. Oblong, it turns out an old use of the word oblong is as an ellipse. So if you go to the Oxford Dictionary, you possibly could have got it. Okay, now that's not what we mean by using maths. Now, the Mathsy game shows I want to talk about. There are a bunch of others I wanted to do, but there's just limits of time. The Price is Right is the main one. Now, it's sort of funny. The Price is Right is, in some sense, the lowbrow of the game shows, right? The kind of wee, ooh, squeaky, and screaming around, and what's the price of the air conditioner and things like that. But it's got the most maths. It's about prices of things, so the numbers are there. I'll talk a bit about Deal or No Deal. And I'll talk about Let's Make a Deal, which is the program that Tommy Hanlon Jr. used to have, but it was from America, and Monty Hall was the host there. And there's a famous puzzle in maths, a famous paradox called the Monty Hall problem. I'll talk about that at the end. Okay, now, the maths in this is just probability. Probability is actually can be very strange, very weird, but what we're going to do is very low level. And probability is just assigning a number to how likely you think something is to be. So you assign the number 1 if you're certain it is going to happen. Okay, so it is certain that I'm going to stop lecturing well before 5 o'clock this afternoon. All right? Pretty certain. 0 is impossibility. Okay, so if something cannot possibly happen, I could make a joke about finding weapons of mass destruction, but maybe I won't. If something cannot happen, it gets assigned 0. And then everything else is in between. So 6 equally likely outcomes by dice, then the probability is 1 on 6. Okay, and I've got my, just so I can walk around a bit, here are my props here. A nice big dice. Isn't it wonderful that, you know, I'm 65 years old and my mother is still sewing things for my school projects. Thanks, Mom. All right. Okay, here's an example.
Very simple, only one decision to make. Is that fabulous prize valued at $5,749 or $4,199? Top or bottom, you just tell Sarita and the rest will look after.
Okay, that's the simplest of the Price is Right games. You got 2 price tags, which one is it? I forget what they're gambling for, guessing for. Doesn't matter. Okay, I mean, if you happen to know the price, sure, but just in general, you've got 2 price tags, 5,749, 4,199. What's the probability of the price tag, each price tag being correct? 0.5, 1/2. Is that true? What would you guess? Just in general. Who would guess 5749? Who would guess 4199? Moore would guess 4199. Okay, let's see what he guessed.
Top. Okay, Sarita will whip that one away, leaving us with this. Good luck. Big prize, start the show. 5,749. Sarita, did he do the right thing? Yo!
All right. So most of you guessed correctly. Why? Yep.
Pricing structures are more likely to be the double 99.
Exactly. Pricing structure. I mean, it's just 99 is the kind of price people end with. right? So the probability is, sorry, oh dear. The probability is 1/2 unless you've got some more information, and that's the key. All right? So if you've got two equally likely outcomes, the probability is 1/2, but you have to think about the information you're given. Okay? All right, so if you have some reason to guess differently, then you do it. Okay, now okay, so that's really the message of this. Probability is based upon information. Usually, the bare bones of it, underneath of it, is you've just got 6 equally likely outcomes, and the probability of each is 1/6. But the game shows tend to be a little rigged in certain ways. I'm not rigged like they're cheating, but rigged just that there's information.
Okay, here we go, across the line. Now, we need to know, is this a $3,000 holiday?
Here's a dice game.
No. This is what I'm going to do, Erica. I put it there. You tell me if you think it's less than 3,000 or more than 3,000. Lower than 3,000. Now you've got the hang of it. Okay, we're looking for the second number in the price now.
Okay, the dice game. All right, a little more action here. She's holiday. She's guessed. If the number is 3, let's actually bring it up. So in the dice game, you roll a die for the first number. If the number is the number in the price, then you get that number correct. Otherwise, you have to guess higher or lower. Okay? And then you keep going with each die. So she guessed, so the number was 3, and she guessed that it would be higher. Did she have to guess higher or lower?
No.
She guessed lower. Was that a good guess?
We don't know what information she had.
That's right, yes. If you're just doing the mathematics, it's a bad guess because there's 2 numbers which are lower, but there are 3 numbers which are higher. But if she has a guess about the, if she says, well, no, I'm pretty sure that holiday is less than 3,000, then that's more information. So you can't really get the probabilities, but which game would you prefer to play? 2 price tags or dice?
2 price tags.
2 price tags? You think I had a better chance of winning 2 price tags?
We got 1. You got 50%.
50% chance of winning 2 price tags. What's the chances of winning dice game? Any guesses?
More than 1 in 8. More than
1 in 8? Okay. What's the chance of getting the first number? The first number can either be a 1 or a 6 or a 2 or a 5 or a 4 or a 3. What happens if you roll a 1 or a 6?
You've got it.
Then you've got it. It's either the price is either that number or you don't guess lower than 1. I've seen it done, but you don't do it. They let her take it back. Okay. So you get to see some very silly things on game shows, but having had a very short career on game shows, I can understand that it's unnerving. So if you roll a 1 or a 6, then you get the number. Roll a 2 or a 5, the chances are 5 and 6, right? Roll a 2. Either the number is correct or you guess higher. And then you've got 3, 4, 5, or 6, so you've got 5 of the numbers covered. Roll a 3 or a 4, that's the worst number to roll. You've got 4 chances in 6. You can cover 4 of the numbers. Or do better if you happen to know the price of the holiday, but I mean in general. Okay? If you work that out, the probability of getting the first number correct is you've got 2 chances of being sure of getting the first number, 2 chances of having 5 chances in 6, and 2 chances of having 4 chances in 6. And that's the hardest maths in the problem. The chances of getting the first number correct are 5 and 6. What are the chances of getting all the numbers correct? It's 5 and 6 of getting the first correct, 5 and 6 of getting the second, 5 and 6 of getting the third, 5 and 6 of getting the fourth, and you multiply them all out, and it's about 0.48. So in fact, ignoring that you might have more information, they're about the same. You got about as much chance of getting the dice game, slightly worse than 2 price tags. Okay, none of that's fun for mathematicians. It doesn't help you win. It just tells you how happy you should be. But the dice game, you're much more likely to win than it looks like. And that's true with a number of the games on Price is Right. Other ones are very strange. Okay? In fact, what happened...
Now, you've told us that the first number is the price is lower than 3. It's less than $3,000. Light up the first number in the price. No, we're going to miss out. Everything else was right.
So she guessed wrong on the first number, and she didn't obey the mathematics. You know, there's a moral there. Don't, always obey your mathematician. In fact, she would have lost anyway if she obeyed the mathematics, but she rolled a 4, and the number was higher in the third slot. Okay? So... playing mathematically correct doesn't guarantee that you'll win, okay? It just improves the probability that you win. Okay, now the bidding game. This is the start of the Price is Right, where you're trying to get up to play for some prize, and you're bidding for some lovely household item, but I don't know what household item they were bidding for, so I'm going to say you're bidding for a kitten. Right? This is a first gratuitous use of kitten in the game show, all right? Guess the price of the kitten without going over. Okay? And what's the probability of winning? Any guesses? Any thoughts?
Depends where you are in the order.
Depends where you are in the order. Very good. Okay? Let's see what happens.
Renee.
249.
249 is locked
200.
in. 200. Carmen, thank you. Very quick, Carmen. Paul, 220? 220.
230.
230, all locked away.
All right, so that were their bids. 249, 200, 220, 230. What do we think of those bids? It's a lot for a cat. Well, that's a matter of opinion, but let's assume you think it's a lot for a cat.
Why doesn't anyone ever bid $1?
If you think it's a lot for a cat, then that's exactly what you should do. Okay? The point is not to get close to the price of the cat. The point is to win the game. And so even if you think the cat is worth, say, $100, you should bet $1. Okay? So, but what if you, well, let's assume we're cat lovers, and we think that actually the cat's worth more than, significantly more than $1, that these are not crazy bids.
Are they given a range to work within?
No, no. They can bet a Google if they like, though they don't do it often. Anybody think any of those bids might be sensible, unsensible?
Well, the ladder bids, someone should have gone 250.
The ladder bids, someone should have gone
If they
250.
think it's more.
That's the other thing you can do, is if you think, no, cats are priceless, you can bet $1 more than the highest bid. Okay? But, and if you think it's in the range, what about that bid of 230? That cannot be a mathematician's bid. Should be 221. Well done. All right, 221 must be a smarter bid than 230. You're now better than 98% of all Price is Right game show players. Okay? So in fact, the fourth bid should be either 250, or 201, or 221, or 1. Those are the only 4 bids that you should consider as the fourth bidder. Ever. They will always be better than some other bid. And your probability of winning can be no lower than a third. There's 4 choices there, but no lower than a third. There's 2 approaches to the Price is Right. One is you study the catalogs at Myers and you learn all the prices of all the things they might ask. The other is using the mathematics to optimize things as much as you can without actually reading through too many Myers catalogs. Okay? So betting $1, you would only bet $1 if you had some thought about the actual prices. If you think, no, that's way too much for a cat, then you bet $1. Otherwise, you just bet $1 more than someone else, and you will then effectively eliminate them from the competition. They're not going to be happy with you. If you bet $221, they're not going to be happy, but if you want to win, that's what you should do. All right, think of this as low-level Donald Trump stuff. Okay, just for closure, this is what happened.
$205, Carmen, come and play with me.
$205. All right, in fact, it didn't make a difference, that one. Choose the low bid. Now, who wins in practice? All right, there's been a lot of things in the news with Stephen Hawking and black holes and revising it all, and I figured that the high-level physics is all being taken care of, so I've been watching The Price is Right. So there's 113 games. Who actually won? Well, the first bidder won 26 times, the second bidder won 28 times, the third bidder 16 times, and the fourth bidder 43 times, or 38%. Now, it's not actually, that 113 games is not a lot to try and analyze what's really going on with this game, and I'm not going to watch anymore. I can't tell you how sick I am of The Price is Right. But 43 times, 38%, certainly the fourth bidder is winning one way or another. What happens in practice if you add $1? Okay, so let's think you're the fourth bidder. The first three bid people have bid. There's a low bid, a medium bid, and a high bid. Well, out of 108 games, it's less. 5 times people bid exactly the right price, so it doesn't matter what you do as a later bidder, you're not going to win. Well, betting $1 would have won 23 times. Betting $1 more than the lowest bid would have won 17 times. Betting $1 more than the middle bid would have won 19 times. And betting $1 more than the highest bid would have won 49 times, or 45%. So if you know nothing about the prices of things and you get into the fourth bidding position, just bet one more than the highest bid. And that's going to work you pretty well. 45% of the time, that's, if it's just kind of random, if you're just kind of bidding, oh, I don't care what those other guys are bidding, I think the kitten's worth $175, you're going to win 25% of the time. But if you pay attention to the other people's bids, then you can certainly up it around 45%. In fact, people do attempt the $1 strategy. Sometimes, very rarely, people do bid $1. Bit more commonly, but not very commonly at all. People do bid $1 more than someone else, in any position, not necessarily the fourth bidder. Out of the 15 times that they attempted it, they won 9 times, all right? Which suggests that they're, with a combination of add $1 with a little thought about what the price of the article is, you'll win very, very often as the fourth bidder. Okay? But it doesn't happen. I mean, that's out of 100-odd games. That's 400 contestants. 15 times people did an add $1 strategy. What if you're the third bidder? So someone's bid, another person's bid. There's a low bid, a high bid. What do you do? Well, there's 3 obvious choices. You can either bet $1, or you can bet the low bid plus 1, or you can bet the high bid plus 1. And the previous information says in practice betting the high bid plus 1. So if the fourth bidder is clueless, you just bet one of the 3 obvious options. What if the fourth bidder is a mathematician? So you say, oh, I know how to bid. I'm going to bid, whatever the high bid is, I'm going to bid $1 more. And then Burkhard, the evil mathematician, comes along. What's Burkhard going to bid?
It's going to be $1 more.
High bid plus 2. $1 more than your bid, and you are completely kaput. So, if the fourth bidder is a mathematician, you do not make the best bid. Because the best bid will become the worst bid once the mathematician after you bids $1. In practice, the chances of getting a Price is Right mathematician 2 in a row seems to be pretty low. So I would suggest probably bidding high plus 1, but if they ever have Mathematicians Week on The Price is Right, you know what to do. Okay, we're making fun of people, let's continue.
23. Good luck, Richard. I think I've got $250.
Okay. $25, just need the 0. Okay, Roger, almost there.
Number 7.
Aye. Good luck, Roger. For you, I hope it's 50 cents.
Yeah, we hope so too. Even out that big one. It's $1. Got pretty close, Marty.
It's all right. Got pretty close, Marty. Those words are still ringing in my ears. In what sense did I get pretty close? No sense, all right? There were sort of 20 bags left, all right? It doesn't matter. You either get it or you don't, all right? So what did you actually win on game shows?
Sale.
What?
I won 3 nights on the sale centre.
3 nights on sale at Century, so you won like thousands of dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I won a personalized water bottle, and so at the end of the lecture, thank you. I hope you come out and you will do just as well as me. Okay. Now, I did have a strategy. Worked well. Strategy for deal or no deal.
As we go to question 3, the decider. Hostages sympathising with their captors are said to have what syndrome? A. Geneva, B. Stockholm, or C. Belfast?
Okay, not much maths there. All right. Anybody know the answer? Yep? Stockholm. All right, the information is valuable. I didn't know the answer. Even if I'd known the answer, it wouldn't have mattered much. Here's the situation, all right? There are 26 contestants. They ask you 3 questions. The first 2 questions are along the lines of what's 3 plus 2, all right? The third question is always tough. All right, most of the contestants are still here. Let's just say there's 26 contestants left. The quickest to answer correctly wins. All right, the quickest to answer correctly gets up to play for the suitcases. Okay. What's your probability of winning?
How many questions are there? How many answers are there to the question?
3 answers.
Oh, 1/3.
1 in 3.
1 chance in 3?
If you just smack the button.
So if you just smack the button. Well done. If you think about the question, let's suppose you say, well, look, I know something about syndromes. Is it Geneva? Is it Stockholm? Is it Belfast? What's your probability of winning? 0. If you think about it as you think of it as a high school quiz, you're lost. You have no chance. What if you make sure you answer first? So you smack the buzzer. Smack the butter, that won't go much, but smack the butter. What are your chances then? Yeah?
1 in 3.
1 in 3, well done. If you're sure you answer first, there's just 3 questions, 3 possible answers, A, B, and C. You've got 1 chance in 3. And that's all you can do. That's all I tried to do. I didn't care what the question was. Well, I just sort of said, I immediately ruled out 1 option, wasn't sure of the other 2. The rules were, as soon as the music starts, you're allowed to smack the buzzer, so I just put all my attention onto the music. Guess wrong. What if everybody played that way?
A lot of noise.
A lot of noise. There's a book, and I mean, if everybody plays this way, it's getting pretty strange. And there's this book, Catch-22. In Catch-22, Yossarian's in the army in the Second World War, and he doesn't want to fight anymore because he claims people are shooting at him. And the psychiatrist says, well, but they're shooting at everybody. And he says, what difference does that make? And then the psychiatrist says, well, but what if everybody thought that way? And Yossarian says, well, I'd be a fool to think any differently. And that's the response. If everybody plays smack the buzzer, you've got to play too. You should do it anyway, but you've got no choice. So if everybody plays deal or no deal correctly, they just ignore the question completely, they listen to the music and go smack. And that's the way to play deal or no deal. And then the probability is as 26 people is 1 in 26. But the speed is much more important than the knowledge in that situation. And this is exactly why on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that they've changed it. I assume that's why they've changed it. That you don't get to choose between A, B, and C, or A, B, and C, and D. You have to rank 4 things in order, which gives you a lot more choices. Still, speed would be much more important, and you should think about the question as little as possible. The speed matters. And that's one of the things which happens that's sort of common with these game shows. The game shows have a certain setting, whether it's in the actual competition or in getting there. The game shows are set up a certain way for you to play a game, and it's entertainment. But mathematically, you're trying to extract the probabilities out and forget about the game, forget about the lights and the glitter. I won't go into it too much. There's impressionable children in the audience, but I do give talks about gambling in casinos. And the mathematics, the analysis is very much the same. Casinos trick people into throwing away thousands of money by lots of blinking lights and cute games, and you've got to extract the mathematics from it. And it's the same with the game shows. So what they want. Now, just as a homework question, won't help you win, but just curious, there are 26 cases, and 25 contestants guess the value of their case, and then they open their case. So the closer to the end, the more chance you have of guessing correctly. So there, I just had bad luck. My case was one of the earlier ones opened. I didn't have much chance, but I got close. Okay. What is the probability that no one guesses correctly? So that's your homework question. You can email me for the answer. All right. Showcase auction.
I'm going to give you a price range and make a bid. I'll say higher or lower. Kelly, you know probably what to do for everybody at home. There it is for you. And Justin, Kelly, good luck to both of you. Justin, it's between $29,400 and $29,500. Your bid?
$29,487.
Yeah, that'll do it.
All right. If you're lucky, you're lucky. There's nothing to be said. All right. All right. Let's see a more typical auction.
To give you a price range, you'll make a bid. I'll say higher or lower. Penny, it's all up to you then. Back and forth we go until one of you hits the bullseye. For everybody at home, it's that. Effie, I can tell you the showcase valued between $29,400 and $29,500. It's a get out there and get into it. Effie, go.
$29,417.
Lower.
$29,412.
Lower.
$29,409.
Lower.
$29,405.
Higher.
$29,407.
Higher.
Uh-oh.
$29,408.
Yeah!
Okay, so here's the auction. The numbers, we'll forget about the 29,000. It's between 0 and 100, 99 different numbers. The bidding went 417, 412, 409, 405, 407, 408. What do we think about that bidding?
407 was a very bad option.
407 was a very bad bid. Okay, let's just work through it. 407 was a oh my God, what have I done bid, right? Well, let's go through it. We won't go through them all, but what's the probability that 417 is correct?
1 in 100.
1 in 99, because I think the numbers go from 1 to 99. But that's right. It's just a random guess there between these. We're assuming you don't know enough about prices to actually know the prices. Oh yeah, I know it's 29,405. So the probability that that is correct is 1 in 99. What's the probability that 412 is correct? 1 in 16. It's down, the range is narrowed. Now there's something funny already here. The second person has had a much better chance somehow. Now, the first person got to go first, but they had one chance in 99. The second person has one chance in 16. And that's a little counterintuitive, because the second person usually is at a disadvantage in that kind of game. Okay, the first person gets the first guess. Now, what's the probability that 407 is correct? It's between 405 and 409.
1 in 4.
1 in 3.
1 in 3. It's either 6, 7, or 8. So there's only 3 numbers, 103, and she's chosen the middle one. So what's the probability that 408 is correct? 1. Okay. So the big mistake, there's mistakes all through it, but the big mistake was choosing 407. She had a 1 in 3 chance of getting it correct, but if she was wrong, the other person was certain of getting it. In fact, I've seen people in that situation get it wrong, but again, we won't mention it further. Okay? What does that mean? It certainly means that if there's like a range of 3 numbers there, it's either 1, 2, or 3, you don't pick 2, because it's higher or lower, that automatically gives it. But what's the extrapolation of that? What about the bid 417? What would be a better bid than 417? Because that's dramatically lowered.
401.
450, the probability, well, either way, the probability is going to be about 1/2 of what it was before, 1 chance in 50. 401. If you guess 401, what's the probability of the next person guessing correctly? 1 in 98, okay? So the showcase strategy, always guess the highest or lowest value. So just an extreme value is between 423 and 486, and you guess 24 or 85. Okay? How good does that do it? If your opponent is clueless, your chances of winning the showcase are about 2/3, whether you're first or second. Okay? What if your opponent is a mathematician? Well, the probability is about half for either of you. Okay? Again, but if your opponent is your mathematician and plays that way, you'd be foolish to play another way. One thing about that is, on average, there will be 50 bids in the auction. Right? This is why we don't have Mathematicians Week on The Price is Right. Okay? But that's the correct way to play the showcase. It's just one, you bet 401, 402, 403, 404, 405. All right, we'll cut to a commercial break. 426, 427. Okay. All right. So good mathematics does not make good TV. Right? But, do you want to be rich? Do you want to get a water bottle like me? Or do you want to go along with it? I have to say, actually, I had a few reasons for going on Deal or No Deal. I hoped to win money, and I thought about how to win money, and I thought about the showcase and opening the suitcases and stuff. But I had 2 other reasons. One was, I really hoped to be able to choose the suitcases, choosing the prime numbers first. Just so I could get some maths on TV. Okay? The other reason was, I wanted to get ammo for cheap jokes. All right, and make fun of them. In fact, I was surprised by it. It's got nothing to do with the math, but I was actually surprised with Deal or No Deal. It's all kind of giggly and excited and stuff like that. But the way, they want an entertaining show, and the way they make the entertaining show is to make the people in the audience have fun. And it actually was genuinely fun, and I was sort of genuinely surprised at the sort of general camaraderie and the pleasure of the participants in the show as well. So I kind of, changed a bit my attitude to those things. Now, Monty Hall. The Monty Hall problem is famous. This, in practice, is not going to get you rich on game shows, but it's a very famous maths problem, a maths puzzle, which caused a lot of mathematicians to look very silly. And here's the Monty Hall problem. And this goes back to the Tommy Hamlin show I was telling you about. The problem was, let's make a deal. Now, the problem is this. You've got 3 doors, 3 curtains, and behind one door is the big prize, which we'll call a kitten. So behind one door is a kitten, and you pick a door. Say you pick door number 1. Okay? What's the probability that you pick the door with the kitten? Assuming you haven't, talked to the stagehands beforehand. 1 in 3. Okay. All right, so that's the first setting. You've got 3 choices. One's got the big prize. You've got 1 chance in 3 of getting the big prize. Okay. Now, Monty opens a different door. No kitten. And the question is, what now is the probability that the kitten is behind your door? 1 in 3? Who thinks 1 in 3? Okay. So here's the situation. Is it 1/2, 1 in 3, or other? Who thinks 1 in 3? Who thinks 1/2? Who thinks other? It's always safe to go other. None of the above. There's so many things which are not of the above, right? You've got lots more numbers. Okay, so this is the Monty Hall problem. You've chosen a door. Monty Hall opens an empty door. There's nothing behind it. Does the probability change? No. And that's the question is, if you can change doors, should you? Should you change to door number 3? Okay? So here's the answers, and then I'll talk about the controversy and try to convince you of the answers. The practical answer is the probability is 1 in 3. The chances that your door's got the kitten has not changed. So switch doors if you can. The remaining other door is 2/3 of a chance that the kitten's behind that door. That seems very counterintuitive. The nitpicky answer is that it depends. So I'll try to convince you of the 1/3 answer and then tell you why the nitpickiness translates. This problem, it's been discussed for decades actually. It was Martin Gardner, who's probably the all-time great popularizer of mathematics, did a version of this long ago. And it was in stats papers and statistics journals and the like. It was made famous by Marilyn Vos Savant, famous for having an IQ of 212. Simon doesn't believe in IQs, so we don't count that. But she's very clever, very arrogant, very pretty, and seems to annoy a lot of mathematicians for one or all of those reasons. Marilyn Vos Savant, in her column, and she really causes a lot of controversy. She has a website, askmarilyn.com, and there's also a website, marilyniswrong.com, trying to pick up on all the mistakes she makes. She really is a target for people who don't like her. Anyway, Marilyn Vos Savant said that the probability doesn't change. The probability of the kitten being in the first box is 1/3, so you should switch doors if you can. She said thousands and thousands of letters, most by people with PhDs. And here are some of the comments. There was an article in the New York Times, 1991. Our math department had a good self-righteous laugh at your expense. I'm very concerned with the general public's lack of mathematical skills. Please help by confessing your error and in the future being more careful. And this one's really good. How many irate mathematicians are needed to get you to change your mind? So the mathematicians really went to town on her, okay? And the mathematicians were wrong. Marilyn Vos Savant was right. The thing to keep in mind is the probability is based upon information. Right? And the question is, has Monty Hall, by opening up that door, given you any further information? Okay? All right. He's opened up door number 2. That gives you information on door number 2, but does he give you information about the question you're interested in? So think of this situation. The kitten's either behind the first door or one of the second 2 doors. Okay? And as it stands initially, the probability that the kitten's behind the first door is 1 chance in 3. The probability that the kitten is behind the second door is 2 chances in 3. Now, Monty knows where the kitten is. All right? The big prize, the game show host does not open the curtain with the car and say, do you want to change doors? Right? All right? Monty will never open the door showing the kitten. And Monty will always open an empty one of the second 2 doors. That's always happened. You got the 2 other doors, Monty opens one of them. No matter where the kitten is, that's what Monty does. So in effect, if you look at it as analyzing this question, first door or one of the second 2 doors, Monty behaves the same way no matter what you do. no matter where, door you've chosen, no matter where the kitten is. And so what we have is no new information on the above question. And if we have no new information, the probabilities don't change. So the probability that the kitten's behind the first door is still 1 in 3. The probability that the kitten is behind one of the other 2 doors is 2 in 3. Now, you happen to know that it's not door 2, but it's still, of the other 2 doors, you've got a 2 in 3 chance. Okay? And that's pretty much the end of the question. It means if you can't switch doors, you should. And I thought this was all dead and buried. Actually, I should have given the website, but there's tons of them. If you look up Monty Hall problem, maybe in a Google search, you will get 300 different montyhall.com websites with games that you can do online to check it out and convince yourself. I thought this was all dead, but Len and Lee, who I guess are not here, a couple of my sort of math tragics, as they like to call them, who are usually at these lectures, they gave me a copy of Australian Skeptic from last year. The fallacy of doubling your chance by changing, where a mathematician was claiming that no, in fact, Marilyn Vossevant got it wrong. And technically, he's correct, but in a nitpicky way. And let's just make clear that the assumptions about the Monty Hall problem. And the assumptions are that Monty knows where the kitten is, Monty always opens a door, Monty will never open a door showing the kitten. And that's the practical situation in a game show. In the game show, Monty knows where the big prize is, and Monty always opens a door, and Monty is not going to open the door where the car is. All right? So those are safe assumptions, and that leads to the probability not changing. Okay, and that's the analysis of the problem. But if that's not the case, then the things change. So suppose Monty does open a door at random, and it happens that it's an empty door. There's nothing behind that door. Right? So some of the time Monty opens the door, oh, there's the kitten, there's the car. But suppose he just picks a door at random, and it happens that there's no kitten behind there, then the probability is a half. There's 2 doors left, and they're each equally likely. Okay? Okay, so in that case, Monty Hall really has given you more information. It's not behind door number 2. That's relevant. Suppose Monty Hall gets sick of all this. He's had a whole string of mathematicians coming on saying, hi Monty, I want to change my door. And Monty decides to change it and say, well, okay, I'm sick of this. I'm only going to open a door if they've in fact guessed correctly. What's the probability that the kitten's behind the first door? 1. All right? It depends upon the way, the point is that the probabilities depend upon how Monty Hall decided to open a door and how he decided which door to open. In the practical situation of the game show, the probabilities of interest to you don't change, but in other situations, with other assumptions, it will change. That will win you no prize in the game show, but that's a place to end. Okay, so that's the end. Thanks. All right, you can come up and admire my water bottle.
Are you able to take any questions, Marty?
Sure, yeah. Yep.
What's the website about the girl being wrong?
I think it's marilyniswrong.com. Yep.
Your comment about the man from the Skeptic Society, or the art of the Skeptic
Yeah.
Society, but his mathematics is based in the context of a non-game show, isn't it?
Exactly. The Skeptic Inquirer took the problem absolutely literally.
But you'd be appalled at him taking mathematics in a narrow view, wouldn't you? You're here to tell us that it's in the real world.
It is worth pointing out, when Marilyn Vossevant initially proposed the problem, she didn't make it clear how Monty Hall chose the door. And that does make a difference. And in some sense, if you're going to do maths puzzles, maths columns and stuff, stating the assumptions is, you should be careful to state the assumptions.
But did the man state his assumptions?
Yes, he did. The skeptic guy, yeah, he did a very thorough, incredibly boring analysis of different interpretations of the problem.
But the stated assumption, he doesn't know whether it's right though, does he?
No, he says that, so his answer is that the probability is it depends. So it depends how Monty Hall chooses the door.
But that's no closer to answering the question whether it was right or wrong.
Yes, it is. I mean, it is. I mean, actually, there's a price tag question too. I mean, we had the two price tags, one ending with 49, one ending with 99. And most people guessed 99 as the price tag. But what if the Price is Right gets sick of giving away their prizes? You know, it's been a bad week, Channel 9's not doing well. Let's trick some people and put in a whole bunch of prizes where the price ends with 1,237. So the psychology, the choices of the people rigging the prices there makes a huge difference. And thinking about those assumptions can make a big difference. In practice, actually, that price tag problem on the Price is Right, people get it often, much more often than 50%. And in that sense, they tend to play fair. In fact, I think they tend to play more than fair. They want to make sure that lots of people win as long as the prize isn't too big. So in fact, if they bias it towards having prices with 99. But I think being clear about the information, analyzing the information. Do we have time for a short demo thingy? Okay. All right. Let's just try something. I'm going to put the die behind here. What's the probability that the die is a 6? Yes? 1 in 6? Okay. Simon, come up.
Yep.
Simon, what is the probability that the die is a 6?
1.
Right. What's the probability that the die is a 6? 1. Simon, what did I tell you before the start of the lecture?
You told me to say 1 no matter what was there.
All right. What's the probability that the die is a 6? 1 in 6. In fact, it's a 6. All right. But that kind of manipulation is exactly what can be done within a game show. And in a sense, the Monty Hall problem is doing that kind of manipulation. They're opening a curtain, not randomly, to knowing what's behind it. And knowing the psychology of people making these choices and why they're making these choices is important to the analysis of the probability. Yep?
You say that the odds don't change because there's no new information. Isn't there new information in that you know that it can't be the middle door, the second door, therefore it must be either the first door or the third door, therefore, and it's equally likely it's one of those two because it was placed behind one of the two and there was no force on you to choose 1 or 3, therefore why isn't it 50-50?
There's no new information on the above question. Think of it, don't think of it as door number 2 and door number 3. Think of it as you've got your door and there's 2 doors over here.
Yes.
No matter where the kitten is, Monty Hall is going to open one of the 2 doors.
Right.
So, if no matter where the kitten is, Monty Hall is going to open one of the 2 doors, you can go given no information about that question. The question of this door or those 2 doors considered together.
That's right.
And I think that's the way to think about it. The other way to think about it, which I think is less convincing, but you can try, is just imagine playing the game 6 times. Twice with the kitten behind door 1, twice with the kitten behind door 2, and twice with the kitten behind door 3. And you always choose door 1. And think about what Monty Hall will do and just add up the number of times that you get the kitten. So that's the way the websites tend to do. But I think it's best to focus on the information of the precise question being asked. this door or these two doors thought of together. Seems to be the way to think of it. Yeah?
I just want to move off the Monty Hall
Yeah.
for a minute to deal or no deal.
Yeah?
Average-wise or probability-wise, what is the amount that they give away most often, which is where you should back out?
Yeah, I was certainly initially when I advertised this talk, I was planning to put that kind of information in there. And the more I analyzed it, the more boring it became. The one message, it seems to be of deal or no deal, is don't be greedy. The practical answer is as long as there's two, keep going as long as there's two high-level suitcases, whatever you decide is a high level. There's confusion between the mean and the median there that gets into it. I won't get into it now. I mean, it would be like a 5 or 10 minute thing that I'll perhaps do next time I do it. But the median prize left in the suitcases tends to be a lot lower than the mean prize. So people think, well, the average payout, look at all the suitcases left, the average payout's $20,000. But most of the suitcases will be below, say, $3 or below $1,000. So, and I think that there's confusion there that people get mixed up with.
Yeah, it seems like an impossibly difficult show to actually win.
Well, you just have to know what the rules are. But it's not obvious to me how the bank makes its offer. It's certainly obvious to me that some people make some very strange decisions. But yeah, it's something for a later lecture. Yeah.
We'll have to bring it to a close now, but if you could join in thanking Marty Ross. We'd appreciate your feedback. The last slide on this presentation has a couple of web address, email addresses, Marty's and the MAV's. If you've got any comments about other topics you'd like to see Burkhart and Marty explore, then we'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any comment on the time, last year you might recall we ran these sessions at 11 AM. This year we're running them at 1. If you've got a feeling about what time you prefer, then you might let us know that as well. The next lecture is the 29th of August, where we're looking at numerology. And then the last for 2004, Saturday the 11th of September. We welcome you to both. And don't forget, now you should go and wander around the museum. I think it's open day today, so everybody can wander. But any time you come to these lectures, all of the students, it's free to the museum, and all of the teachers, it's free to the museum. So we thank the museum for their support, and thank you for coming.
Yeah, I think that worked very well.